Hi, this is Brad from Wonderland Travelers. I know having our shades working well is pretty key to having a comfortable experience in our RV. So today I'm going to show you how to fix any broken shades. Yeah, there's some broken strings there. The first step, you just want to unscrew these spools at the bottom. Then there's going to be some screws holding it in at the top that you want to unscrew. Alright, I'm going to use the pleated shade first aid kit from United Shade. Now there are a number of components that you might need to replace during this process. First of all, there's the strings, which I'm definitely going to need to replace. It looks like I have a snapped string here. Then there's the springs, which are embedded along the top of the shade here, and if they are worn out, then I will replace them as well. And there's also the spools, which I think I will replace them just because this is this kit comes with the newer version of the spool that works a little bit better in my opinion. Then there's these bushings that make it so that the string doesn't wear out so fast. So if you lose one of those, one of the old ones in the process, then you're going to want to replace it with these new ones. Okay, so first thing you want to do is remove the end pieces. Now be real careful doing this because depending on how old it is, it might be a little bit brittle and it could break. Just get like a flat blade screwdriver under there and just go a little at a time. Especially want to be careful with these end pieces because they're just not as easy to find replacements for. You can remove the old spools at this point. Now that we have the end pieces removed, we can slide the metal pieces off of the shade. You start with the bottom and then slide it off of the middle piece. And the string will come unstrung as you do this. Keep track of the order of these things. In this case, it's very important which shade goes where. So the lower shade is the day part, and the upper shade is the night part. And then we can remove this middle metal piece. And see how these bushings are coming out. We're going to need to put these back in when we rethread the string. And then the last thing you want to do is remove the metal piece at the top. But before you do that, you'll need to pop out these bushings at the top. There we go. These ones are a little different, so hold on to those. Probably won't have replacements for them. Okay, so tie your string to the spring. One on each side. And now thread each string down through the night portion of the shade. It doesn't go through easily. You might need to do a nice clean cut at the end to get a better point. I found that it's a little easier if you compress the shade all the way down. There we go. One side done. Once you've strung the other side in the same way, you can put the top rail back on, reversing the steps you took to take it off. If you want, you can go ahead and put these end caps back on at this point. Now thread both strings through this middle rail. And it looks like my bushings have fallen out, so I'm going to put them back in before I do that. So these look to be in decent shape, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse them. These bushings are very important because they prevent the string from fraying. So once you're threaded through that middle rail, you can go ahead and slide it on to the shade. Okay, the middle rail is back on. Before we can string the day section, we'll want to move each string to the opposite side. So we cross them over here in the space under the middle rail. Okay. So I'm going to thread the crossed over string through the other side of the day shade. If the end becomes too frayed to put through, just snip it off and get a clean, fresh start. There we go. So now we're going to slide the day shade into the bottom part of this middle rail, and then this crossed over section of strings is going to live in the cavity under here. Now, before we put the bottom rail on, we want to cross these back over one more time. And then slide this bottom rail on. Now you want to make sure, once again, everything is centered, and put these last end caps back on. And part of that is you're going to need to thread through them. There should be a little hole. Now that that threading is done, we can mount the shade again, and then we will mount the new spools with the new thread. What we're going to do is, so we got two on one side going straight down through, just illustrating here. Two on the other side going straight down through. Then when they get to the middle, you're going to skip one and go down the day portion. So then for this one, skip one and then go down that last one. Now when I thread the day portion of the shade on, I'm going to take the thread from the left side, put it down this one. I'm going to take the next one over, put it down the one all the way on that end. Then this one is going to go down this end. Then the one from the right end is going to go down this one. Once the day shades are threaded, you'll need to do a similar crossing pattern, but a little different, because you need two strings to come out at either end. So what you do is basically you take the left two, pull them on over to the right, take the right two strings and pull them on over to the left. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of these new spools, which I really like. So they come apart into two pieces. I just use the flat blade to pry them apart. Whoa. And then I'm not entirely sure that this is the right way to do this because the directions to me aren't very clear, but it seems to work well. What I like to do is take this part and just put the string through it like that. Then take the other part and put it down on top of that. Now, you can still move the thread through, but once you've screwed this in real tight against the wall, it clamps that down as it's supposed to. So it makes it really easy to adjust this to the right tightness, because that's what you're going to need to do. You get both sides adjusted just right, and then screw this in to the final tightness. Actually, I'm going to tighten it for now just to hold this up a little bit and make it a little easier to do the other side. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Pry this open. And I'm going to put the screw in that side so that it holds that last piece, squeezes that last piece down on the braid. Okay, so things are sliding, but they just keeps dropping. So that's because the string is not tight enough. You want to hold both of these up, make sure the spool is loosened just enough that you can slide the string through. Pull it tight. And then screw it back in. Okay, now that both sides are tight, should slide better. There we go. Oh. Oh, it looks like it's a little loose on that upper one. So that just means I need to tighten these a little bit more. Now, it may take a couple of tries before you get it right, where the tensions are just right on each side. My favorite way to check the tightness is to just pluck them like a guitar string and listen to the tone. Hear a difference. This side is lower. The tone on this other side is higher. So I either need to tighten this side to make the tone match this side, or loosen this side to make the tone match this side. I'm feeling like if anything, I'd like everything to be looser, so I'm gonna loosen the high side. I'm pretty happy with the final result. So once you get it set up where you want, just trim the excess string. And you're done.